gratitude for spacing your time for today's virtual board meeting of Kid Sonic Group Berhad, which is conducted through this Zoom meeting. I hope everyone stays safe at home. Before we proceed, let me introduce myself before we start the meeting. I am Muhammad bin Mohd Ali, the chairman of this meeting. To not delay, I would like to start our meeting now. Ms. Jasmine, could you please confirm the attendance of directors based on the Zoom screen?
Sure, Sri. Dear attendees, to confirm your attendance, I would like to record again, and you may say yes after I call your names as you attend this meeting. If the names I call is silent, I will assume that he or she is not attending this meeting. Dato Nazir bin Amin,
Yes.
Wan Sri Lim Teng Yi,
Yes.
Mr. Idris bin Yusuf,
Yes.
Miss New Chu Wei.
Yes.
We received the apologies from Dato Nathan and Dato Akbar who currently attends the business conference in Penang. So we fulfill the meeting's quorums for at least 3 votes to pass the decisions made. Pass back to you, Tan Sri.
Thank you, Ms. Jasmine. To avoid further delay, let's proceed for today's meeting. First, I would like to announce that we accept the previous minutes of the meeting. Since the request from being present, I hereby call the meeting to order. I would like to commence the meeting by introducing fellow directors. Chan Chansiri Mohammed bin Muhammad Ali, Mr. Idris bin Yusuf, Datu Nazir bin Amin, Buan Siri Lim Tang Yi, and two secretary, Ms. Jasmine binti Ahmed, Ms. New Chue. The notes of the board meeting has already been sent to all board of directors. If anyone does not agree to any of the agenda, please raise your hand. If there are no people who disagree with that, I will declare the notes of the board meeting has been taken as read. Alright, Ms. Gasmin, could you please explain the voting procedure to all directors here as the resolution will be resolved via voting?
Alright, Tan Sri. For the voting procedure letters, when Tan Sri call up your names for a vote on resolutions, please raise your hands if you agree with the specific issues in front of the screen. So, does anyone have a question? Okay, pass back to you, Tan Sri.
Thank you, Ms. Gasmin. Purpose for today's meeting is to discuss some significant decision for a certain agenda in our company. Ms. Neo, could you please explain our agenda for today's meeting?
Yes, my pleasure, Tansri. Our agendas for today are as below. First, approve the audited financial statements. Second, approve the reports or statements related to financial statements. Third, inform the declaration of dividends. Fourth, re-election of director. Fifth, suggest to remain fees and benefits to directors as previous financial year. Sixth, reappointment and fixing remuneration of auditor. Seven, confirm the authority to issue shares. Eight, review the requisition to remove Dato Nathan Nail as company director and appoint Mr. Sani Abdullah as new company director. 9. Discuss the beneficial owner disclosure in Catsonic Howling Sendirian Berhad. 10. Approve the AGM. 11. Review and approve the notice of AGM and EGM. And lastly, acknowledge the circular to shareholder on proposed change of name. Pass back to you, Dan Sri.
Thank you, Ms. Neo. Now let's start with the first agenda. Approve audited financial statement for financial end 2020. I will pass to Mr. Idris to explain details on this item.
Thank you, Tansri. Regarding the audited financial statement, after being examined and verified by the auditor, they approved our financial records, financial statements and reports, as well as the Board of Director report for 2020 is presented in a true and fair will and obtains sufficient and appropriate evidence for all the transactions that occur. To explain in detail, the company's income statement, financial position, cash flows, and the changes in equity for the financial year end are in accordance with the Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards (MFRS), International Financial Reporting Standards (IFRS), and the requirements of the Companies Act 2016 in Malaysia. In addition to that, the board is pleased to report on the application of the principles of the Malaysian Court on Corporate Governance 2017 and the extent of compliance with the recommendations of the court during the financial year end.
Thank you, Mr. Idris, for the presentation on our audit financial statements. How about other directors? Does anyone have any questions?
No, from me, everything has been clarified.
Yes, I'm already clear with the presentation just now.
Well, if there are no more questions, then I will make a resolution for voting by showing hands. Thank again, Mr. Idris. If you agree to approve the audited financial statement, please raise your hand.
From the notes, it seems that all agrees to approve the audit financial statements.
Great! To conclude, I declare that the resolution to approve the audited financial statements for the year ended 31 December 2020 of the company is passed. Thus, the audited financial statement will be presented in our next AGM. Let's move to the next agenda for approval report or statement related to the annual report 2020. We will straight proceed to the voting by showing hands. If you agree to approve the related report and statement, please raise your hand.
From the vote, it seems all agree to approve the related reports and statements.
Great. To conclude, I declare that the resolution to approve the related reports and statement for the financial statement year ended 31 December 2022 of the company is passed. Thus, the reports related to financial statement will be presented in our next AGM. Please note as it has been resolved, Ms. Neo. The next agenda is the declaration of dividends. Ms. Neo, can you explain what is the criteria to declare dividend according to the Act and Company Constitution, please?
According to Section 131 of Companies Act 2016, a company may only make a distribution to the shareholders out of profits of the company available if the company is solvent. In addition, according to the company constitution, no such dividend shall be payable except out of the profit of the company provided that if the company is solvent immediately after the distribution.
Well, the company is facing loss of 437,366 in the year 2020. Therefore, there shall be no declaration of dividends for the best interest of the company. For the next agenda, we will discuss our next resolution, which has been sent in the notes of board meeting. We are going to discuss the re-election of directors that will be finalized today. There will be two directors who will be re-elected during the coming AGM.
The directors needs to retire are one-third of the total directors from the times being at the conclusions of the meetings. Here it looks like Datuk Nazir bin Anis and Mr. Idris bin Yusuf are the longest serving directors in this company since the last re-election.
Alright, Dr. Nazri and Mr. Idris, can I know the date of your last election, please?
Yes, sure. Tansri is on 15 May 2018.
For me, it's on 15 January 2019.
Alright, We move to do a vote for the re-election of our directors. We will start from the re-election of Datu Nazir first. Ms. Gasmi, please monitor the screen. Has any director raised their hand? Please raise your hand if you agree to re-elect Datu Nazri as our director.
Alright, I already noticed this election and may proceed to the next elections.
Okay, please raise your hand if you agree to re-elect Mr. Idris as our director.
Okay, I already noticed these elections.
Okay, we bring forward this agenda for resolution that Datu Nazri and Mr. Idris will be re-elected as our director in the next AGM. Alright, so if nothing else regarding the re-election, I think we can move to the next item on the agenda about recommendation of the same amount as previous financial year for director fees and benefit for the upcoming year. Ms. Neo, can you explain the resolution on this matter, please?
Sure, Dansri. As we all know that due to the pandemic, our company's financial situation is not in good condition. However, according to the company's policy, we will not lay off the employees in consideration of the current economy. Hence, we suggest that we will maintain the director's fee and benefits for the upcoming year.
Yes, I highly agree with this agenda because in this situation, we really need to considerate and take care of our employees. We should provide them with psychology and financial support so that they can have a better life and survive in this pandemic crisis environment.
Yes, I also agree with these decisions. I don't think it's necessary for us to enjoy the increased fee, while many others are still struggling for their financial income.
Good, good to hear that from all of you. How about anyone else? If no one gives an objection, so I assume that all are agreed for this attendance. So, since all of you agree, thus director fees will have the same amount as year previously and will be presented in our next AGM. The next agenda to be discussed is about the reappointed of our auditor and their fees.
Lastly, our contract with Mercer's Cross Auditors is coming to an end by this year. Thus, based on your opinions, do we need to appoint them as our auditors for the upcoming years?
Alright, well, firstly, how good were their services performed before? Do they fulfill the criteria to be an auditor? Directors, can you explain?
From the rendered services during these 2 years, Ms. Lee, she is an independent auditor. There is no conflict of interest between the auditor and the group.
Yes, Mr. Idris, Ms. Lee has also expertise and experience in auditing for more than 8 years. We can see professionalism from her work.
We can see Miss Lee performs her jobs in audit scopes as she did regular check-up and investigations on the company records to detect internal errors. Thus, frauds can be detected inside a company.
Yes, I agree too. We have an examination and inspection in our company as a technical used by auditor to audit companies.
Well, now we should discuss the auditor fees. In my opinion, I suggest that we stick with Miss Lee's previous fee as our auditor in the previous operation. Should we proceed to the voting session? Please raise your hand if you agree to continue our current auditor together with previous session auditor fees.
Alright, Dansri. Ms. Lee also expressed her willingness to continue to act as auditor of the company with the same fees as in previous years. Thence, we bring forward and present these items in the next AGM.
Alright. Our next discussion Our next discussion is about the authority to issue shares. Does anyone here want to allot shares in the company or to convert any security into shares in the company.
Can know what the allotment in shares represents here?
Okay, share allotments is the creations and issuings of new shares by a companies. New shares can be issued to either new or existing shareholders. So the share allotments can have implications for any existing shareholders' share proportions. Typically, new shares are allowed to bring on new business partners.
Ms. Jasmine, can you explain to us about the authority to allot shares according to the company constitution and acts?
Sure. According to Section 75 and 76 of Companies Act 2016, unless the prior approvals by ways of resolutions by the company has been obtained, the directors of a company shall not exercise any powers to allot shares in the company or to allot shares under an agreement or options or offer.
Well, I shall raise the matter in the AGM.
How many percent of share allotment shall we propose this year? According to the company constitutions, the notice of the general meetings to approve of the aforesaid specific allotment shall include the numbers of shares to be allotted.
Can we add 10% of shares if everyone agree?
Sorry, Mr. Idris. I think that maybe we should issue 5% first, then we'll see our progression.
Yes, I second your motions. Dr. Nazi, I think 10% is too much.
Alright, then let's make a vote. Anyone who agrees with this, please raise your hand. Ms. Jasmine, can you count it?
Okay, from the works, it seems like these agendas can be resolved.
Right, I resolve this agenda as an additional 5% issuance of shares and will be presented in the next AGM. Now, let's continue to the next agenda in this meeting regarding the resolution of removing the director. I am sure that all of you had been notified about the special notice that was sent by Mr. Hamza, the representative of the members of Kid Sonic Group Berhad on 4th of May 2021 for issuance of removal of Datu Nathaniel from the board of directors list and appointment of Mr. Sini Abdullah as a company director.
Yes, Dansiri, I'm aware of the notice, but I cannot figure out based on what reason to remove Datonata.
As far as I know, there is no reason provided in the requisition to remove Datu Nathan, and I sure Datu Nathan did not conduct any fraud for this personal interest. However, to be fair, a copy of special notice will be sent to Datu Nathan, and I noticed that there is an act to protect the right to be heard for the directors of public companies against removal. Can you explain more to us, Ms. New?
Sure, times 3. According to Section 207, the company shall forthwith send to the director a copy of the special notice. The director shall be given the right to make oral representation or written representation not exceeding a reasonable length on the resolution to remove him.
Well, based on the requisition, the members are required the company to converse a meeting for the purpose to discuss the resolution of this issue. Can you explain to us if it is necessary to conduct an EGM meeting, Ms. Nia?
Yes, it is necessary to call for a meeting within 14 days from the date of the requisition in the case that a special resolution is given in accordance with Section 292 to remove the company director.
Alright, Then I suggest we do have an EGM meeting right after our EGM at 10 June 2:30 p.m. for the resolution purpose. Does anyone have other opinion regarding the date of EGM? Well, since everyone agreed with the dates, then we resolve the agenda and Ms. New please prepare the notice of EGM for the next board meeting to get the approval from the board.
Sure, Dansri.
Regarding the second issue notice and the requisition, the appointment of Mr. Sini Abdullah as company director will also be discussed in the EGM on 10 of June 2021. Ms. New, please prepare Mr. Sini profile in the meeting documents.
Sure, Dansri. I will attach Mr. Sunny's profile in the meeting documents so that all directors can review and give their opinion during the EGM meeting.
Great. Without further delay, now let's proceed to the next agenda. The following agenda is to discuss the beneficial owner disclosure in Kidsonic filling sedan Farhad. Ms. Jasmine, could you please explain this to us?
Sure, that's right. Based on Company X 2016, the beneficial owner is the ultimate owner of the share of a company and does not include a nominees of any descriptions. However, there are some categories of companies that are allowed to be exempted from this beneficial owner disclosure, and one of them is the companies whose shares are quoted in a stock exchange, either local or foreign exchange. Thus, Canson Groups perhaps which is a public company and shares are quoted in a stock exchange can be exempted from beneficial owner disclosure. However, our news companies Canson Experience and perhaps is required to apply beneficial owner disclosures, and it needs to issue a notice in writing to any other persons who has an interest in any of the voting shares in the companies to obtain the confirmations whether they hold the voting shares as the beneficial owners or as a trustee. If this other person is holding it as trustee, they are required to disclose the identities and particulars of the beneficiary.
Thank you for the explanation, Ms. Jasmine. I understand it well. How about other directors? Does anyone have any questions? Alright, since all of you agree has no question about this, we will continue to the next agenda. The next agenda is to discuss the date for the next annual general meeting. How about on 8th of June 2021?
I'm sorry, Tan Sri, I can't attend the AGM on that day because I have an appointment with my doctor on that day.
Same to me. I have another meeting on that day and it can't be delayed.
Sorry to interrupt, Dansri. We cannot do the annual general meeting on 30th January 2021 because according to the Company Act 2016, Section 316, Subsection 2A, and Section 8 of Company Constitution, the AGM must be held at least 21 days from the notice of AGM that we will discuss in today's meeting. Therefore, the earliest date we can proceed for AGM is on 10th June 2021.
Alright then, so directors, how about the 10th June 2021?
Sure, I was free on that day.
Yes, Tan Sri, I can attend on that day.
The same to me. I can attend the AGM.
Everyone agree? Thus, our next AGM on 10th June 2021 at 9 a.m. from each director's home or place through Microsoft Teams amid COVID-19 pandemic. Later, I will prepare and send to all directors a notice for our AGM.
This agenda is to review and approve the draft of notice of AGM. Miss Jasmine, did you prepare the draft?
Yes, Tansri. I have attached the draft notice of AGM in the meeting documents so that all directors can review and give their opinions during the meetings.
Great. Now, does anyone have any opinion regarding the draft notice? Great. Then we proceed to the voting session. Please raise your hand if you agree to approve the draft notice of AGM.
Okay, from the votes, it seems all agree to approve the draft notice of AGM.
I declare that the resolution to approve the draft notice of AGM of the company is passed. The 10th AGM will be held on 10th June 2021, Thursday at 9 a.m. by conducted fully virtual. So, Ms. Jasmine, that is for our resolution on the next AGM. You can start to issue notice for our next AGM and send to them by 20 of May. We still have to consider the current situation during this pandemic. If there are any changes, please make an amendment on the notice as well. But the date of AGM remains the same. Thank you. Next, we will move to our last agenda, which is to acknowledge the refusal to shareholder on the purpose change of name following that we have resolved in our last meeting.
Okay, here is the notice of circulars to shareholders regarding the change of company names.
Thank you, Ms. Jasmine. I suppose all of our agenda are resolved. Amazing. Now we have come to the end of today's meeting. I really appreciate everyone that I attend this meeting before I ended my speech. I would like to announce good news to all of you. Our company has been nominated as Top 100 Malaysia Best Company and the winner will be announced at the end of the next month. Let's pray for our success. Thank you for your hard work and commitment toward Sonic Group Berhad from the beginning until now. Before I adjourn this meeting, is there any who want to add anything? If no other matter that needs to be discussed, then I would like to look for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I think nothing else need to be added, so I second your motion to enjoy this meeting, Tansri.
Yes, Tansri, I also have nothing to add. This meeting can be adjourned.
Yeah, I do agree with all the agenda that we had discussed so far, Dansri.
Alright, then we shall dismiss this meeting since everyone agreed to adjourn our meeting today.
Noted Tansri, thank you to all members that participated today. We end our Board of Director meeting now.